Chest up, shoulders back. This is Revival Fitness, your home for gains and brains. And we're going to take a trip back in time today. It's almost school season, starting back up, and I was going through some math on my macros and got a sense of nostalgia. And I remembered the foods that I used to eat before I started this channel and before I even started lifting. This is what I ate essentially 10 years ago, and I went to the grocery store. My cart looked a lot different than it normally does, and I was in aisles that I have not been in a long time. I went to the parts of the store that I've never ventured to. I almost got lost. I needed a map. But what you will see here are the foods that I used to eat pretty routinely on a general weekday and a school day. Essentially this, all the time. And just to start, this is the most high school aged picture I have. And I know that I'm not shirtless. I was not taking pictures of myself really at all back then. I was not even training. I guess you could say roughly skinny fat. I mean, I've never really been fat in the sense that I've had like a noticeable stomach or man boobs or anything like that. I'm lucky in that regard, even eating the foods that you're gonna see here today. But I am somebody that is genetically on the slimmer side. I always have been. Gaining weight for me, even now, eating tons of food, no matter what I eat seemingly, my body is very resistant to putting on weight, and I can obviously gain fat and puff up. I've gotten up to about 20% or maybe just above body fat a few years ago, but I've never really gone beyond that, and simply getting there for me took excruciating effort. That's what it's like for me as somebody who is more on the ectomorphic side of things. Now I know for a lot of you, you have the opposite scenario. You can walk by a bakery and smell the dough and seemingly gain 10 pounds. It's much more of a battle for you guys to lose fat, as well as stay lean, assuming that you ever get there. And let's be real, a lot of guys are never going to get genuinely lean. A lot of guys, no matter how much they lift, they're never going to really get below a legitimate about 15% body fat. Many guys claim that they're trying, but their diet is never really buttoned up. I know you see a lot of content where it's all these guys with if it fits your macros, and they have junk food in some form every day. If you have my genetics, you can get lean eating that way. But for a lot of you, I hate to tell you, but it's not gonna work out. Of course, you can include junk food in some treats, so-called in moderation, and still be healthy overall, and not be fat. However, if you want to get to the point that you are 12% body fat, let alone below, that might not be in the cards for you. And the thing is now for a lot of you, your diets are going to look kind of similar to this, just with more protein. And that's not going to cut it, my man. If you want to learn much more about diet in full detail with all kinds of references linked, check out my body composition Bible down below. It is more in depth than any general nutrition content you've ever seen. I guarantee you that. But with that said, let's dive into the first meal of the day, my old breakfast. I used to have to get up very early to catch, well, 2 buses to go to high school. I had to catch one bus kind of close to my house. That bus went downtown. Then I had to catch another bus from downtown to the high school. I had to wake up at like 5 a.m. to do this. So I barely had time to even eat breakfast. And I also got to bed around usually midnight or 1 a.m. So I got maybe 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Yeah, this was not a good situation. And my favorite cereal was Cocoa Pebbles. So I'll do a bowl of these and have it with milk. 2% milk though. I used to be very conscious of the saturated fat content, so 2%. And of all the things to worry about in this meal, saturated fat. But that's how most people think. Okay, let's see if this tastes like it did when I was younger. It's not bad. So whether it's this or any other general cereal, the macros on these are a total train wreck. They're complete sugar bombs, but what if I told you that there was a cereal that was very low sugar and high in protein that could satisfy your sweet tooth without all of the junk? That is the sponsor of today's video, Magic Spoon. Each flavor has 12 to 14 grams of protein, per serving, 0 sugar, and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. And the great taste is in large part from allulose, not artificial sweeteners. Allulose is a rare type of sugar that has actually been shown to have GLP-1-like effects in the body when consumed. Magic Spoon has also introduced their brand new granola as well. These have 13 grams of protein and 0 added sugar. You can eat these standalone, have them with some milk, or mix them with yogurt. They're very versatile for your breakfast or any type of snack. And on top of that too, a Magic Spoon also has these treats. These small bars that are excellent when it comes to the macros. They've got 11 to 12 grams of protein, just 1 gram of sugar, and only 1 to 2 grams of net carbs per bar. These are excellent to keep in your bag, so you can easily get a quick snack on the go. Relatively low in the calorie department, but filling with high protein and great tasting at the same time. So if you want to give them a try, use my code REVIVAL and click the link in the description box to try Magic Spoon treats or granola today and get $5 off. You can also find Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, they are backed with a 100% happiness guarantee online. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link in the description box or go to magicspoon.com/revival or scan the QR code on the screen for your $5 off. Now that said, there is still something else as well in this breakfast. We've got bagels, and I would usually have 1 full bagel. My God, this is so hard to open. I'm getting really mad, man. Okay. And the way I toast my bagels, I like them a bit golden, not too crispy though, but also there needs to be a little bit of crunch to it. Okay, they have an option that says bagel. I guess we'll use that. And I'll top that off with some butter. Here I've got Kerrygold. This is grass-fed from Ireland. I did not use that back in the day. I was using the typical store brand butter. And now that I think about it, it might have been can't believe it's not butter, or margarine as they call it, like the fake butter spread. I probably was actually using that. But unsurprisingly, back when I ate this way, my rosacea, which is never fully cured, it seems like, but it was worse than it even is now, even on eating much less food overall. And as you can imagine too, starting off the day with this very nutritious breakfast, I was very sleepy in class. As I said, I would fall asleep, sometimes within the first 2 or 3 periods of the day. Very little protein, massive blood sugar spike, that goes up, it's gonna come back down, and your energy is going to crash. All right, looks like I burnt the shit out of it. Oh my God. Okay, I guess I should have turned it from all the way down to 7, closer to up here. It was almost all the way maxed out. I'm not gonna even waste any butter on these things right here. And now my apartment smells like burning bread. All right, let's try that again. All right, the moment of truth. That looks better. It's always a great sound, the knife scraping against the toasted grains. I also would sometimes put jelly on these too. And whether you buy jam or jelly at the store, oftentimes they both have a bunch of high fructose corn syrup, so don't just be fooled by the label immediately. Yeah, this is good. It's really good. So that bag of bagels I bought, there is 6 total, and they are the big size, like 50 grams of carbs per bagel. Toasted with some butter on it, I could put that down easy. So I got to school, had my first few classes, then it was around lunchtime, usually about noon, and this was my go-to order. I always got first a slice of cheese pizza. It was not this brand directly, it was the classic cafeteria pizza that had cardboard crust, and it tasted decent enough, but we're gonna make this and see what it's like. And as if that wasn't bad enough, I would have French fries with it too. I'm looking around, do I even have a baking sheet? But the French fries are gonna go in the air fryer. I also cook my beef every night in that too. Very easy. And then the pizza is gonna go in the oven. It says I have to heat it to 400. I have not used an oven in so long. Like, I genuinely might burn my place down. Let's hope not. No, not start. No, I think you just let it go. Yeah, then it starts. There's like a big iceberg of fries here. There we go. By the way, guys, this air fryer, I love it. I'll link it down below. The entire thing is just easy to use, a lot of settings, stainless steel interior also. Not a lot of chemicals floating around. It's great. Now, as if these weren't good enough for the amusement park lunch on a weekday at school, to top it off, you have to have a beverage, right? And I would have Pepsi. Yes, a bottle of Pepsi, not even a can. I would have the entire bottle. And notice, this is not Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke. No diet. I drank the real stuff with all of the high fructose corn syrup in it. I have not drank this stuff, any type of soda, in, it might be 10 years at this point. I'm almost scared to try it. You could go through liters of this stuff per day if you're not careful. The lunch of champions, or in my case, a dude that played Xbox a lot, and I think I had good grades for the most part, so I wasn't just completely slacking. But yeah, didn't have a whole lot going on. Okay, so I could not find a pizza cutter, so this knife had to do, but I think it turned out pretty well. So we've got the pizza, we've got the French fries, and with that, with the fries, I will like to put ketchup, or I used to always put ketchup. One note with the ketchup, you can see here, this is Heinz, no sugar added. There is under 1 gram of total sugar. They use stevia in this, in addition to tomato concentrate from tomatoes and some vinegar and salt. But like so many things now, even just ketchup has to be high fructose corn syrup. They put that in almost every brand. So if that's something you want to pay attention to, and you probably should, if you have it in some regular capacity, I would go for the no sugar added version. It's a bit more expensive, but as with anything, you get what you pay for. So let's try the fries out. They're all right. I didn't expect greatness. They were frozen, and I just kind of threw them together quickly in the air fryer, but I'll take it. All right, now the pizza. For a really cheap store-bought pizza that you just put in the oven for a bit, that seems pretty good to me. Maybe my standards are very low now because I don't eat pizza really at all anymore, but I like it. And I alluded to this before, man, but all of these foods are just so easy to keep eating. The word is hyper-palatable. Even if you don't have a big appetite in general, like I really don't, stuff like this, anybody can keep eating it, just over and over. Look, man, if you want to eat this way all the time, I don't blame you. I totally get it. Like, this food is very good. I could easily eat this all day, every day, and not get sick of it. But in terms of how conducive is it to your goals, that's the thing. Because a lot of you, I know, eat a lot of these foods, at least somewhat regularly, at least a few times a week, maybe on the weekends, cheat meals, all that stuff. Some of you eat these all the time, like almost every single day, in some form. And other frozen foods, other fast food, stuff like that. To look how you want to look, you're gonna have to make a decision, bro, okay? You either have this stuff as a regular part of your diet, and some of you, even as a scarce part, you may not be able to spin that realistically, but it's that or your dream body. You get to pick. See, I gotta throw this away, because I'll eat the entire thing. Almost forgot the Pepsi too. Here goes nothing. Yeah, it tastes like I remembered. Yeah, you could easily put this whole thing down in a matter of minutes. It's no wonder people are so fat. You cannot create an easier environment than the modern first world, especially the United States, to get obese in. I mean, it's comically easy. Now I can already feel my stomach churning a bit. Okay, I really need to stop. So now the rest of the classes for the day are done. I have undoubtedly slept through at least one class, often more than one. My friends used to take pictures of me in class sleeping, but I would usually get home around 3:30 or 4 p.m., and this was my go-to snack: chewy granola bars. Here I've got the peanut butter chocolate chip. I like that as well as normal chocolate chip and s'mores too. I'm a big chocolate guy, if you couldn't tell. And these are tiny granola bars, but look at this laundry list of ingredients for these little things. But this was my snack: glass of 2% milk and the granola bar. Now remember, these are very, like, almost sticky. If that makes sense, that sounds bad. So if this was a night that I had work, I might eat a shift meal at the restaurant that I worked at. I might do both, have that as well as what my mom made. Now, the good news is that if you do have an Italian mother like me, you are treated to gourmet level cooking all the time, even on a random Tuesday night. But as the Paisans know, Sunday dinner is the big dinner. That's when it's usually going to be some type of pasta and meatballs, and the bread and the wine is going to be out. In terms of the general weeknights and school nights, it was more like this. I decided to get 3 types of pre-made meals from the store because these are somewhat close to what my mom would make on a general night, and not as tasty, without a doubt, but I'm feeling a little bit lazy. I didn't feel like making a whole meal myself. This is a classic meal, Italian-style spaghetti with meatballs. Do you guys see this shit? Not even out of the box yet. This is so common, I see. This makes me so upset. When people make pasta, especially spaghetti, they make the noodles plain. Then they just put some sauce on top of the noodles. Look at this. There's no mixture of the sauce. The noodles are not properly absorbing the sauce at all. I see this all the time, and it's just mind-numbing. Like, my ancestors are rolling over in their graves. I don't know if I can even try this. Look, they put these sad... Look, it's one single leaf. The fuck out of here. I mean, I paid like $10 for this, even for a video. You know, I might have to go get a refund. Okay, let me give you a pro tip how to make pasta correctly. When you make it, once you have the noodles finished cooking, you drain them. You can use a little bit of leftover hot water from the cook or not. But once they're done, you immediately pour some sauce into them, okay? Maybe a little bit of butter too, or olive oil, whatever you prefer. You could use both for real creamy texture. You mix those in with the pasta and then let it simmer on low heat so the pasta absorbs the sauce all around. Then it's ready to serve, and then you can put hot cheese on top and it melts right in. Perfect. This crap, look, plain white noodles, this crappy cheese sprinkled on top, these lifeless meatballs. This is a disgrace. Okay, next up we have a grilled chicken with green beans and mashed potatoes. Classic. Can't possibly mess this up, can you? I can at least eat this. I see a lot of people complain like, oh, grilled chicken's so boring because it's one of the most, perhaps the most staple, like lifting and gym food ever. If you cannot enjoy basic grilled chicken with some seasoning, some of you apparently don't know how to season your food. If you want to have your dream body, guys, you cannot complain about this type of stuff. Boring, boring, boring. This is going to be the vast majority of what you eat. So just heated this up while this cools off. Let's look at the final meal that I decided to get. Meatloaf with scalloped potatoes, fancy, and green beans as well. They love these green beans, and they seem very stale, so they must have had a bunch to use. The scalloped potatoes almost look like macaroni and cheese. I wish it was macaroni and cheese. I'd prefer that. Let's try this plate with the chicken and mashed potatoes and the very stale green beans. They did not season this chicken a whole lot, which is not surprising given that it's a pre-made meal. Who knows how quickly the people that made this put it together. But even so, guys, you're not going to be able to enjoy to the utmost every single meal that you eat. And you can still enjoy boring food. And really, once you adjust your palate, you should be able to, and you will, enjoy the so-called boring food. And I've had eggs every morning for so many years now. I still crave them, and they taste delicious. Some fresh eggs, scrambled with salt. I've done them standalone. I've done them with beef, with sausage. They taste great every single way. These green beans might be 3D printed. And all that said too, even eating very clean, getting down to the body fats a lot of you guys are used to seeing online, like 10% or below, that's still going to be a massive, massive struggle for the vast majority of people. And I think the overwhelming majority of people, like 99%, would rather eat the foods that they want at least a good amount of the time, as opposed to not doing so and looking like they idealize. A lot of you are going to realize over the course of your fitness journey that what you thought you wanted, which was like 10% body fat, really vascular, cut up all the time, that's not actually what you want. What you want is going to be closer to mid-teens body fat, but visible abs there, because once you have a great foundation of muscle mass built, you will look leaner at higher body fats, and you can have visible abs at higher body fats. And if you want more information on that, check out this video in the top corner, how to keep your bulk as so-called lean as possible. Okay, so I failed to finish the green beans, didn't eat my vegetables. Parents everywhere are outraged, as well as dietitians and nutritionists, but these green beans are better suited to be in airsoft than on a plate, so I'll pass. And last but certainly not least, especially in terms of the sugar content, was my after dinner snack. That is double stuffed Oreos. Well, I guess not stuffed. There's no ED at the end. It's just stuff. And you see it says always made with real cocoa. High quality stuff here, I guess. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. You can't have these without milk, are you crazy? Some things to consider. I do not really eat these just normally. I either dunk them into the milk, or I will, let's see if you can still do this. Yeah, you twist off the top like a disc, then you can eat the cream in the middle, or dip both of these in the milk, or dip one part, whatever you want to do. These are not meant to be eaten just plainly. If you want to get real fancy, double up, dunk them in the milk. Now hold it in there for a little bit, don't just do it for 2 seconds. They gotta get just moist enough to where it's still a little bit crunchy, but don't hold them in there too long or else they're gonna break off. This takes timing and patience. It's an art as much as a science. You could also dip just one in, but I don't think it has the same impact at all. These taste similar to what I remember too. Now, what some people like to do is buy the off-brand. You know, they're not called Oreos. It'll be whatever the name of the store is, and then chocolate sandwich cremes. They don't spell creams. They put C-R-E-M-E-S, cremes. I've had those too back in the day, especially whenever my mom would act like Mr. Krabs, you know, and she would buy the cheap stuff. Like, we're so short on money, we have to save $1 on the complete junk food. But the taste is very noticeable. Like, you're not fooling anybody. And keep in mind as well, as you build more muscle over time, the more you can essentially get away with eating things like this on a more consistent basis. Now, should you do that? No, you really shouldn't. It's not like just burning the calories is all you need to care about, or should care about. There's a lot of other things too. But that is still how a lot of people eat. They are simply going after numbers on a piece of paper. Calories, protein, carbs, and fats. A lot of guys only track their protein. Maybe they have a calorie goal, and then the carbs and fats are all over the place. And the exact types they're getting, they don't know either. Or it's just very hit or miss, it's totally scattered. But just like that, almost this entire row is already gone. So what do we see yet again? So easy to eat. I mean, I could sit here over the next 5 minutes and go through this entire bag. I think there's, what, 30 cookies in this entire thing? I've already eaten like 8. That was seamless. I was barely thinking while doing it. And if you are bulking, you have more leeway when it comes to foods like this. But as I've mentioned as well, slippery slope. A lot of people, if they even want to have these things in small quantities, so-called in moderation, that useless phrase, it could spiral out of control quickly. So you have to be careful about that. But there's no way out of this, guys. Like, eating clean, holistically speaking, is going to be an uphill battle no matter what you do. This is related to socially, but also culturally. There are certain cultures that if you meet up all the time and your family members make this type of food and it's part of the tradition and you're like, I don't want to eat that, they're going to sit there and look at you and question you. And it's not like you need to sit there and just start crying or get upset over that. That said, at a certain point, you may need to draw lines with people. Like, if you're really trying to be serious about this and the people around you, especially family members, if they just do not give a damn at all about what they're eating, you're going to have to take a stand in some form. That means cooking your own food at the house, buying your own groceries. Okay, you cannot rely on what mom makes all the time if she's always making junk or just buying junk and all this frozen food and bringing home fast food. So for all of these reasons and many more, you have to get your diet under control. That is without question the #1 Achilles heel of most lifters, of most people in the gym. So looking at the final tallies for all of this food, we come out to 114 grams of fat, 493 grams of carbohydrates, and 132 grams of protein. That said, a good amount of that, almost 40 grams, is from plants, which is not as bioavailable or digestible. So let's do some rough math, divide that by 2, that comes out to 19. So let's say 113 grams of protein. This in total comes out to 3,450 calories. And I was keeping my weight around 155 to 160 pounds or so without lifting any weights at all during this time on this amount of food. This means 30% of the intake is from fat, 57% is from carbs, and that's a lot of sugar too. I didn't even totally tally it, but it's well over 200 grams, maybe close to 300, and then only 13% is from protein. Something else to note too, the labels very routinely do not add up in terms of the macros to the total number of calories per serving. And this is very common across the spectrum of foods. And if you want to see more math about this and see some of the reasons why the macros and calories are misleading oftentimes, check out the video in the top corner. So be sure to check out the Body Composition Bible linked down below if you want to really learn about this and get it under better control for yourself. And with that said, I think I'm going to throw all this food away. Some people would argue, oh, you should give it away. Is it really beneficial to give this food away? Unless somebody is about to starve to death, giving it to someone, even if it's out of good intentions, you're just giving them a bunch of crap. Is it really that helpful? So maybe I will give it to the stray cats in the neighborhood, which I guess I'm poisoning them too. There was some decent stuff I could say for them, but man, this is kind of dark. It's almost as if the fall of food quality has been planned, and the food pyramid was designed this way, and the global health crisis was engineered by forces deeper than we know. And or people just keep buying this stuff, so they're going to keep making it. Probably both. But this has been it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. Check out the links down below. Also, my training programs. Stop wasting your time, not only in the kitchen and in the grocery store, but also in the gym. And I will catch you guys next time.